So here's some of the wall gardens that we sell on our Edible Eden web shop. Now I've used a lot of different wall gardens over the years, and I really like these because they clip on easily onto a variety of different backgrounds. So they've got all sorts of different clips at the back. They also have a very simple self-watering pot reservoir on the bottom. So there's one that's been sitting around for a bit, so it's got a bit dirty. And you can see how the water is funneled from the one above to the one below through this little funnel, and you can water through this as well, just like a wicking bed. And then this is the little insert that separates the potting mix from the water reservoir below. That's got a little bit messy, as I say. So today I'm going to be planting some leafy lettuces, or mixed lettuces, and also some coriander, a slow bolting coriander, which is better normally to use, but they should be quite fine in this slower weather, this cooler weather. There's been a bit of self-seeded purslane in this one, and I was getting it ready to plant, and these sort of popped in at the end of summer. But they're a summer edible weed, so I could have given those to the chickens. However, I've got a little dripper that comes on when the automatic irrigation in the vegetable garden comes on, and these hold their moisture much better than most other wall gardens, which is why I really like them. Yes, they're plastic, but they are just super, super practical, and they have also a very good soil volume area for the roots. So they hold good levels of moisture, and they allow for good root development, and this has always been an issue with wall gardens, quite often anyway. So here I have some potting mix, just decent quality potting mix that I fill them up with. Just spread it out just like you would any other pot. Don't fill them up too high because you're going to have a little bit of space to put your seedlings in. Now, if it's difficult to work on, you just pop them down, lean them against the ground, against an edge, fill them up. So they're super practical and easy to deal with. None of them are heavy when they're filled, so I can easily hold that with one hand. So very simple to use. I'm going to actually pop that one up slightly higher to take advantage of a little bit more light in this slightly shady area. And pop this one below it. If possible, lining up where the reservoirs come through. Now we're ready for planting into. As you can see that that's on a bit of an angle. With some clipping, you end up with them quite straight. But this has ended up being on a little bit of an angle, but it's still quite okay. So here we have some leafy lettuce ready to be popped out. It's a mixed lettuce, so you've got a little bit of red lettuce, a bit of green, a bit of a mixture. Now lettuces are one of those seedlings, here we go, popping it out, nicely wet, you'll notice. Leafy lettuces are one of those types of vegetables that don't mind being planted closely together. So you can split the seedlings up and separate them out further to get a little bit more growth, but if you're in a hurry or you only have really limited space, you can also cram them in together and they still respond quite well. So as I said in previous videos, there's a tendency today to cram all your vegetables in the small spaces that you have, but some vegetables are more suited to that than others, and others really, really are not. So leafy lettuces are one that you can do this with. So what is a good idea is to just sit your lettuces in place where you're going to put them, so you know how many you're going to have per planting area. So we'll probably put those elsewhere, and we'll put coriander in the bottom. So we'll pop those away for somewhere else. And our coriander has been soaking in a weak seaweed solution because it was a little bit dry when I popped it out of the seedling punnet. And we can let that drain a little bit and start splitting up the coriander. Now this has been sown in clumps, and often people think that they should separate these, but in fact you're better off just to plant one clump like that. And if you start to separate every single seedling in this group, you'll stress them too much. So they can be planted, just divide one row into 3 clumps. And we'll take another lot. You see they're kind of planted in rows, so separate that by breaking it apart with your fingers. And then you can see the 3 distinct clumps. Separate them again by teasing in between them with your fingers. convincing them that they'd like to be in this general setup. Now, of course, when you're planting into potting mix, it's super easy. There's no work involved. You simply dig your fingers in, make a little hole, pop the roots in, and firm around them. Now, always make sure, it's got a little broken unfortunately, always make sure that you are not planting your seedlings too deeply. Really the main, if only, vegetable that can be planted deeply is tomatoes. Any other vegetable, well, I shouldn't say that, onions and leeks are probably another exception too. But generally, leafy vegetables, if they're planted too deeply, will not respond terribly well and may die. I would call that burying, not planting. So we're popping them in. It's very quick, and this is a great little courtyard or edge of an established perennial food patch, as it turns out. So it's just another way of getting a bit more, oops, that one's not quite evenly spaced, getting more planting in an area. So you're stacking your planting in and taking advantage of every single little bit of space. And I'm planning to clear out some things on the other side, obviously, and grow some snow peas up here for winter, spring. Now, even out your potting mix, and you're ready to water very gently with a very soft nozzle from a watering can.